watching the Hub Network. The Studio Show. People, community, progress. Here is your host, Joe Kennedy.
And good morning, everybody. Saturday morning. We're not used to doing this on a Saturday. It's our first, actually it's our second time. Last week was recorded, so we weren't actually sitting here on a Saturday morning, but we hope you got to watch John Talley as well last week. But this week is our first live show on Saturday morning. We're glad to do that. We've changed it to Saturday, and we're glad to be here. So real quick, a couple of public service announcements. One, just got notified of the Carson Boyle Memorial volleyball tournament going on at the Boyle's house. That'll be on August, I think, 5th, I want to say. And so if you want to donate or be a part of that, you can get a hold of Larissa Boyle. And we put all that information on the Facebook page too, so you can get a hold of her. And there's also a donation link there on Venmo if you want to donate to that cause as well. You can certainly do that. But get involved with that and help honor his memory as well. Again, tragic situation for Carson last year. But today we're going to have, I've got a room full of special guests. You can't see them yet. We're not going to show you here until just a minute. But of course, the Children's Theater going strong all summer long. And they've worked on Little Mermaid. We're going to find out how that's been going, and some surprises here from some of the cast that you're going to see here in a little bit. So as soon as we come back on the studio show, we'll get with them. So stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
Now on Saturdays, watch the studio show live at 10:30 a.m.
The Studio Show is brought to you in part by Stillwater Transfer and Storage and AAA Self-Storage.
Watch Cushing Matters the third Monday of every month, only on the Hub Network.
At Davis Dental Studio, our patients are our friends. Unlike the big commercial facilities, Davis Dental Studios wants you to know you're not just a number. We strive to bring personal and quality service to each patient. Dr. Rebecca Davis has over 18 years of experience as a caring and compassionate dentist. She and her highly trained staff will make sure your visit is a positive one. So remember, when you and your family need dental care, Davis Dental Studio. You're not just a patient, you're a friend.
In my mind, I was never going to walk right again. Before we were through, we had walked 23 steps. And that was my first steps of freedom. This patient is saying thank you.
Bank of Cushing, a branch of Blue Sky Bank Pawhuska, wants you to know they are still the same friendly hometown bank. Local people that live, work, and worship right here in Cushing. Providing you the same great service, more convenient products and technology, making your local banking experience even better. A great bank, serving a great community. Bank of Cushing, a branch of Blue Sky Bank Pawhuska.
Since 2003, Pro Events has had one singular focus: great audio, video, and lighting systems. Never confusing our industry with the PC crowd, Pro Events always provides you with the best, most reliable options for your house of worship, school, or corporate training facility. Make your system stand out from the crowd. And remember,
for the best AV, you know where to go visit proevents.pro.
It's all good, man.
Participate in the show. Send an email to thestudioshow102@gmail.com.
And that is how it goes in the breaks. We love the breaks because we get to have a whole other conversation. Nobody knows what's going on, right? Here we are. But hey, here we have the whole cast from Little Mermaid. Kristen Tarp, the director of, we call that Cushing Children's Theater. What do we call it?
That's what we
Summer
call
theater?
it. Yeah, just summer theater.
Summer
Cushing
theater.
Children's Theater, yeah.
So let's talk about summer theater a little bit. I mean, that we've been going for a few years now. So I mean, it's had some good results, and I think you've seen some good productions and all that stuff. But talk about just getting that started and why you want to get that started.
So next year will be our 10th year.
Okay.
And I was just thinking about this morning. I thought you might ask me, but a friend of mine, Andrea Wetmore, she has since moved.
Okay.
But we started this. We initially got together. We were working on a children's choir camp at. She attended First Baptist, and she asked me to help her with that. And then I said, that went really well. What if we did this on a larger scale? And so this was 2014. We approached the downtown theater here. And said, hey, we have this idea. And we started with about 20 to 25 kids. And we did Music Man was our first show.
Yes.
We didn't know, neither of us had any idea what we were doing. And we had a really great time, and it's just gone on from there. So she was with me for a couple years, and then her husband's job transferred them away.
Yeah.
And so then I've had a series of different helpers through the years.
You've just been a glutton for punishment the rest of the way out.
The rest of the time. And when I started working at the school and went back to teaching, I went to Mr. Knight and said, hey, I've been doing this. Could we move it to the big auditorium?
Yeah.
He said he thought that would be great.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's been a really cool program. And let me just say, all of the kids that have been involved in this early on have come through. But man, a lot of growth from those kids. I mean, over the years, I mean, it's really been cool to watch. And it's actually we saw a lot of it translate into the production this year with Miss Moore and Mamma Mia, and a lot of those kids that you have fostered all the way through, doing a great job.
It was wonderful. I was, my theater babies are up here on stage, and they did so good. Yeah. They were amazing. So it's really fun to see.
It's got to feel good to see some accomplishment there. To see that. Hey, it's taken root. I feel like in Cushing, it's kind of regenerated itself. I mean, it's resurgent from the theater side of things, which is really cool to see.
I love it, and a lot of them are seeking opportunities outside of the school.
Absolutely.
They've done some things downtown here, or they've gone to different, some productions in Tulsa and Guthrie and here and there. It's been fabulous.
Right.
So.
Well, what more would you want as a theater teacher? I mean, you're teaching drama at the middle school as well.
Yes.
Mr. Tarp is well engrossed into the music side and choir and all that kind of good stuff, doing a great job there. And so it's just cool to see the arts flourishing here in Cushing.
Yes.
It's easy sometimes to get focused. We get focused on sports because that's what's always on Friday night, the big stage. But so much has been going on with the arts and everything you guys have been involved in. I just think that's pretty admirable from you guys, and you guys have. It's not the easiest thing in the world, right?
Not always. Right? It takes a lot of commitment, but it's fun, and I'm just a big believer in it. I'm passionate about getting kids on stage. I think it teaches them so many things that they'll use their whole life. So any opportunity we have for that, I'm all for it.
And it's that is so true. It's just like sports because it teaches you so many other lessons besides just the art of putting on a production, but it's all the stuff that goes along with it. Those are all life lessons.
It's a life skill. It's if you can, I say it every year that theater it teaches them to ignore the part of them that's afraid and focus on the part of them that knows what to do.
Right.
And if you can do that, that's a test taking skill. That's a job interview skill. It's just a life skill. If theater teaches them things that they'll use their entire life.
Absolutely.
I love it. I'm passionate about it.
Absolutely, and that's so much of what this is all about, right? Especially at this level, junior high, high school, even younger than junior high. What's the youngest child that comes into the theater?
The youngest I have, they are entering third grade this year. So we catch them their first year at upper elementary. We put a packet in their hand. And so they're entering third grade when they come to me.
Gotcha. And so really was this, 10 years, I mean, we've been through a lot of students by this time, and a lot of them have gotten a lot of experience, but they stuck with it. I think the impressive thing is that you don't see kids that have dropped off and it's really flourished. The older they've gotten, and we've had those programs there to continue that.
Yes.
That want to be in theater and production.
Absolutely, they do. And all of these are returning kids. That I have here with me today, and
Absolutely.
They keep coming back. I love it.
Let's let you introduce yourself, Becky. I know everybody probably knows, hey, that's Harper back there, but go ahead and tell us who you are.
I'm Harper Beasley. I am playing Sebastian, and I am her son. This is actually my second show. Yeah, it's kind of my third, but for Aladdin, I was sick, so I could not be in the production.
Oh,
So
That's
this
true.
is my second production I am doing.
However,
Gotcha.
I did in my time hop yesterday was a picture of not quite 3-year-old Harper curled up asleep in a chair down at the theater
At the
down
theater,
here.
yeah.
So this is he's
Been to
been
several
around
rehearsals.
a
He's been-
minute.
he's been around for a few
Bless his
rehearsals.
heart.
Yeah.
I remember I was, oh no, I guess it's not my second, because I was in Wizard of Oz as an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Not
There you
Oompa
go.
Loompa, as a, what is Munchkin?
Munchkin. Wow,
And
Oompa Loompas, Munchkins.
It all runs
It
together.
does.
I gotta tell you.
I was a squirrel.
You were a squirrel in
I
Willy
was a
Wonka
squirrel.
with Carly when they were
Yeah,
little.
yeah. I think they were both squirrels,
Yes,
weren't they? I
they
thought,
were.
yeah.
Right
Yeah.
down there in the front of the stage on that little stairs
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Just laid down.
Yeah, he laid down. Well,
That's always a good memory when you're 45 or 50 years old. You say, I played the squirrel one time.
Exactly,
That's always the good
right?
thing I want to say.
Did you ever
Good
get
times.
up off that stage?
Well, I came and picked you up.
Uh,
That's what happens when you put your 3-year-old son in a show. Sometimes he just lays down.
Tired. It's union break time. Mom.
He had
That's-
done what he was supposed to do, and he was over it, and he just
Exactly. Well, so that's. I mean, you don't even realize how much exposure, especially your kids too, being all around, and from Becca on down.
Yes.
We've seen Becca just kind of grow and flourish over the years. You know, as she's come
Definitely.
through. The production is really fun to watch. I mean, that's been fun for us to watch too, as she's grown and just become really a great job. She's got a great sense of humor. I've always appreciated that from her, and I always tell her I love the. She only did it one time, or maybe she did it twice, but the toast thing, that was great. I mean, I just loved it. I think she did it. That's a single person act that she pulled off very, very well. So she comes from obviously a very well diverse and capable family of artists in many different ways. So she has a lot of talents. But
she's pretty fabulous.
all these kids though are pretty cool to watch though. And so tell us a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about it. We're jumping ahead, but I don't care. It's our show. We can jump wherever we want to.
Whatever
Right?
we want. Exactly.
But tell us a little bit about. Introduce yourself and who you're playing in the production.
Well, I'm Macy Towns and I'm playing Scuttle.
Okay.
This is my second year doing theater. And in school I had Miss Tarp for speech and drama, and we did a lot of things in there that was really fun.
What drew you to that? What did you find that was so fun about drama and theater?
Well, when I lived in Manford, we didn't have anything like that, and so I was trying something new.
Yeah.
And I just kind of stuck with it.
Gotcha. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's trying something new. And
love it, and it turned out she loved it, and she's so fantastic, and I always so thrilled to have her. So,
Absolutely.
and she's a great example of a real well-rounded kid, because she's softball player, great athlete, and so we've been having to kind of juggle that a little bit these past few weeks, you know, which can be hard for these kids, but the coaches do great to work with them, and so she does a fantastic
I think that's
job.
one thing that we've seen in Cushing too, a good partnership between that side of the fence and this side of the fence, which helps a lot.
It really is. I've never had any real trouble with that at all. They do a great. They want these kids to do all of that stuff, and you don't get that in every town. We're really fortunate.
Even some of the coaches, though. I mean, so you take Mr. Tarp, coaching football right there, and certainly very dedicated to that as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously a big season last year.
Yeah.
But and takes a lot of time to do that. But still, even on the other side of that, spends just as much time and just as dedicated to that side. And for you as well, as a coach's wife, it's the same thing, right? Isn't it?
Absolutely. Yes.
So we see that in Coach Moore and Mrs. Moore. I mean, on both sides of the fence.
Exactly.
Their kids kind of both sides of the fence too. So we see a lot of that.
Does a little of everything. Yeah, for sure. It's great. It's a good. It's good for kids to see that you can do both of those things. Those things aren't mutually exclusive, and so it's a good thing.
Absolutely. Those are great examples for kids. And so, Macy, you said you moved in from Manford. You've been here a couple of years. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so when this play came up, did you zero in on a part? What made you think I'm gonna try for Scuttle? How did you get focused in on that part? Or was it Mrs. Tarp maybe said you're a good Scuttle? I'm gonna put you in there.
Well, originally I was Carlotta, the maid.
Okay.
But our Scuttle had to go because she wouldn't be able to make it for performance. And so then I got scheduled for that role.
Gotcha. So sometimes logistics play into that.
Sometimes, absolutely. It's casting is the hardest part of my job because I know that I'm disappointing kids and making hurting kids feel whatever.
Sure.
And but it's also my favorite thing to watch a kid just step into a role and shine, which is what she has done, what they've all done. And so it's been good.
And when it's tough. Let's just say, because everybody could probably do almost every role.
Absolutely, they could. That's what I tell them. It's almost never strictly about talent.
Right.
Almost never that.
Right.
There's 1,000 things that go into the decisions that we make.
Right.
And so it is hard because they can do it all. They're amazing. Yeah. It's just a matter of fitting them where they're going to shine the most.
Right. And that's the hard part because you just never know. Sometimes a certain personality takes to a certain character, or that personality turns the character into more than you thought it would be. Sometimes you see that a little bit too.
Yes, absolutely, which is fun. They take it and bring, every actor brings something of him or herself to every role, and so it's fun to watch them kind of find their way.
Okay, Elena, we've saved the best for last here. So tell us a little bit about who you're playing and what your role is.
I'm Ellie Beth Greer, and I'm playing Flounder.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you like about Flounder? What's the coolest part of it? He's funny. He's funny. And you kind of seem like a bubbly person. You kind of seem like somebody that enjoys delivering those lines a little bit, don't you? What attracted you to that role? Do you besides just being funny? Were there certain lines that you were saying? Were there other characters that you were playing next to that was pretty interesting? Or
he's my favorite character in Disney.
Okay.
Ah, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
So you got to be watching him from the other side. You got on the movie side, maybe watching the movie or watching a cartoon of it or something like that. Then you kind of like his character, huh? Gotcha. How does that feel? What's it like? This is always something that I find interesting too. When you're on stage and you're doing this character within yourself and you're projecting it out to all those people out there, your mind has to kind of work differently, doesn't it? Don't you have to kind of project that character out through you a little bit? What's that feel like to you? It's kind of a complicated question.
It's a complicated question. But we talk a lot about how you have so many things to think about, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the line. It's not just
you have to project your voice. You have to leave yourself at home and be your character.
That's it. I love that.
Leave yourself at home and be your character.
I don't want to see Ellie Beth today. I just want to see Flounder today. Ellie Beth can stay home.
Exactly, and so and that's a tough thing to do.
It's a tough thing to do. It's something to do for a grown-up.
Yeah,
absolutely. So they do a great job. But it's hard for them sometimes to make the leap between I'm reciting this line to this is what my character. You know what I mean?
This is what I would say.
Character, this is what I'm saying. So we work a lot on that.
Absolutely, and it's so much more than the lines, right? Because the lines, if you just say the lines, they're all like mechanical. It's like, okay, I wait till they finish their line, then I say my line.
Exactly.
But it's making it mean something a little bit, and it's kind of hard to do, isn't it? So how does that feel? How does that feel to you, Macy and Harper, to have that experience on stage when you're having dialogue with other characters?
Sometimes it's a little tricky. Like Kiss the Girl, it's just a bunch of different people, so it's kind of hard to figure out. Like, okay, I say my line here, but I have to wait for him to say her, and then it's just. And
it still needs to feel like it's a natural conversation. That's hard, isn't it?
It can be.
Yeah. And I have a couple lines that are kind of like the same, but then they're like a little different.
So they're emphasized a little bit differently.
Sometimes you might accidentally say that.
Yeah.
Like, I before I really knew my lines, I would get the meaning right. Like, I would be like, instead of saying together, I'd say combination or something. It would sound weird, but it got the meaning across, and I was like.
But if someone else is waiting for the word together to know to say,
then
where they're like, there's confusion, so we have to get it, and plus, the playwright, the book writer intended this exact line, so we can't take too many liberties. So.
I think people don't understand that either, because you are kind of restricted based on, anymore. That's a serious deal, right?
Yes, so. I sign an enormous contract that says I will not deviate from the script. I will not add songs. I will not cut songs. I will not edit anything. I'm pretty locked in. Now, does that mean, that people don't? I watched a production online where they added an entire like dance, like they had dancers obviously that they really wanted to use, and this is not a dance heavy musical, and so we just added a whole dance number in, and I thought I don't really think you're supposed to do that, but
yeah, exactly. Well, and that is, I mean, it's in the days of when it was harder to find, but everything's online now. Everything is so out there and open that they can kind of find the violations if they're looking hard enough.
They could, and I don't. It's not like we'll have a representative from New York in our audience.
Right.
I don't think. I mean, they're welcome to come.
Just buy a ticket. Yeah,
buy a ticket. Come on in. But you want it. I signed my name to that contract, so I'm going to try to follow it.
Well, and of course, artistically, you want the play to be as done as well as it can be, and obviously those are professionals that write it, and so there's meaning behind all of that stuff.
Exactly.
Right? So they want it to be that well. So.
Exactly. There's a particular song in this play that I don't love, and it's kind of and I was like, I wonder if we could cut that, and I thought long and hard about it, but ultimately you need it for. There's things that happen during that number that we need to reference later on, and you can't really, and it turns out they know what they're doing, so, and I'm not supposed to cut it, so we left it. But
Well, it's tough to do because it's easy, and especially when you get in there with kids, you think, oh, if we could just do that, it would be so much better. It's hard not to make those kind of changes, but so that makes your job even a little bit more difficult. Adds another layer of difficulty to that, right?
It can. Yeah, it can. And like you said, they're professionals and they write for children all the time, and so they do a really great job of editing it down and helping make it feasible for kids this age, because it's designed for up through the 9th grade. Like, that's the intention. Right. So, and they do a pretty good job.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we might even talk these guys into maybe giving us a little snippet of a scene, let them act a little bit of it out here maybe in a little bit. We'll see if everybody gets all wound up and geared up here for it. But we're going to talk something about the other side of this, which is all the cues, all the lighting, all the sound, all that kind of stuff. Stuff doesn't just automatically happen in a week. You don't just start last week and then show up at the production,
Right.
So we're going to talk about some of the complexities of that and what you've done this whole summer to get ready for this production, and it's all coming up here in another week or so. So anyway, we'll get right back to that here on the studio show. Stay with us here in just a minute.
We'll be right back.
The studio show is brought to you in part by Stillwater Transfer and Storage and AAA Self-Storage.
Well, hello, Whitney. How are you?
Hello, John. So here's the proposal packet for the new mobile app.
As long as I'm running this thing, there ain't gonna be no mobile app.
Introducing the new mobile app, making your banking experience even easier. It's so easy, even John can use it. Bank of Cushing, a branch of Blue Sky Bank, Pawhuska.
We have a help tab if you need help. We will have...
I don't need help. I'm pretty good at this.
You are good at this.
Since 2003, Pro Events has had one singular focus: great audio, video, and lighting systems. Never confusing our industry with the PC crowd, Pro Events always provides you with the best, most reliable options for your house of worship, school, or corporate training facility. Make your system stand out from the crowd. And remember,
for the best AV, you know where to go visit proevents.pro.
When you have a team of physicians and nurses that really truly care about their patients, that translates into patient care.
It's a small practice, it's a small town. Everybody really takes that time to put the patient first.
Everybody cares what's happening to me and that I'm making progress and I'm gaining my freedom back and my mobility back. This patient is saying thank you.
RCB Bank is more than a transaction. We work to make your life easier. We help build your business. We finance your dreams. We grow your legacy. We build relationships with our communities. Come in to find out why our customers always say, RCB Bank. That's my bank.
man.
Participate in the show. Send an email to thestudioshow102@gmail.com.
All right, we're back here on the studio show.
Watch
and we
Cushing
just,
Matters,
we know
the
we're
third
gonna do
Monday of every month.
Excuse me.
Only on the Hub Network. Now on Saturdays, watch the studio show live at 10:30 a.m.
Well, I forgot there was an extra commercial in there, so there we go. So even I can make mistakes too, just like that. I should know better.
Live theater.
That's the way it is. All right, so yeah, we're talking about we kind of working on this scene a little bit. We're just talking about some of the logistics of how to do all this stuff. I think it's relatively challenging. I mean, a lot of this is underwater.
Yes.
And so
technically.
Little Mermaid, yeah. So
yes.
So I mean, how in the world do you think through all that and get that going to where it's going to take us into that world?
Right. So I have the great good fortune of having a set designer friend from Oklahoma State University. He contacted me back in 2019 and said, "I heard you're doing this, and would you be interested in some help with set design?" And I was like, "Yes,
please."
And since then, he has come and done in the afternoons after we're done with morning rehearsals. He comes and does set construction camp.
Okay.
And so he is an enormous help. His name is Eric Barker. He's the assistant professor of scenic design at Oklahoma State.
Okay.
He's an enormous help in thinking through all those logistics with me. And then this year we've added the component to the camp, and now we're calling it Tech Camp because we're adding lighting and sound components.
Yes.
And the lighting will be another major way that we,
make the world
exactly. So it'll be watery lighting,
Yeah.
And then we have and every piece of the set is constructed almost entirely by students, which is incredible.
Pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
And when you see this year, I think especially, you're gonna be like, what? I mean, they built it all, and they've painted it all, and they've designed it all. So we have waves that come on, and he basically assigned 6 kids and was like, create a wave. And they've done it themselves, and it's really impressive. And so when the waves are on, we're under the water. When the waves are off, we're above the water.
And so that is, I mean, that's going beyond a little bit as putting on a theater production. Now you're teaching the craft of set design and what really goes on, what really makes a production, right?
Yes.
Because if you can't get your audience's imagination to go there,
right,
it's all for naught.
Right. We have to create the world that these people live in.
Right.
So
that whole experience, there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, just you have to think about it from the audience's point of view. It's not so much from your point of view on stage, but from their point of view. Lighting and sound has a bunch to do with that. And so tell us about how the lighting is going to make that look like.
My lighting designer, my lighting and sound people this year are both from OSU. In years past, my husband has run the sound for me with help from you, David Tarp. Yes.
You get very little help from me. It's all Dave.
But this year, so we're bringing in my lighting person. Her name is Carly Gocher, and she is a graduate student at OSU, and this will be her 3rd year with us. Yes, her 3rd year with us.
Yeah.
And then Carly and Harley.
Harley, yeah.
Harley Roche is going to be my sound person, and she's going to come in and kind of help make all of that happen. Because if you can't hear them, what are we even doing here?
Absolutely.
And this group is doing a great job of projecting and being big and loud, but we have all that pre-recorded music.
Yes.
And it gets really hard to project over and above
and
that.
some of that goes in behind their dialogue too, which makes it. I mean, to set the scene, and people don't. Sometimes it's easy to not think about it, which is what you want people to do, not think about it. It doesn't need to be a distraction, but it needs to be part of the production.
Yes.
But to project over the top of that,
yes, so
especially
we have
for a
to
smaller
mic them.
child, is
yes,
tough.
Exactly. We have to mic them, and so we have to work all of that out, and we're dealing with limited, in a Broadway production, everyone has, the mic that's right here.
Yeah.
We don't have that. We're not Broadway. Exactly. And so we have to kind of figure out how to make all of that happen, and we have to use some stage mics, and then we have to tell everybody to have quiet feet because it can sound like a herd of elephants. I mean, there's 1,000 things that go into the sound design and the lighting. We're working on the idea of bringing in some black light. We've painted some things in glow paint that would shine if we're able to make that happen. we don't know for
A
sure.
little more shimmery, like underwater,
exactly.
that kind of,
It'll
that
glow
kind of stuff.
under that.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, that stuff is, it's tough to think through. People take a lot of that for granted, but that makes a production adds so much more of a dimension to it.
I feel like lighting is the thing that always, for me, brings it together.
Sure.
Like
absolutely.
once I have lighting going, I'm like, there it is. Like that was my, that was my idea. That's kind of what makes it happen.
And productions like this are very participatory on the audience's part, right? Because you have to bring them in so far, but there's always that little bit of that leap that the people have to believe what they're seeing, and they need to kind of go there with the character a little bit, like reading a book or like anything else.
Yes, we call that suspension of disbelief.
Yes.
We know that we're not underwater. Like everyone knows that we're not, but you're going to pretend with us for this hour and 10 minutes that we're underwater.
Right.
And and it's part of how theater brings people together, is that we're all joining in this idea that, okay, let's pretend that, this is where we are.
Right. Well, that's all pretty cool. What do you guys, is that hard to get that in your heads a little bit when you're on stage and you get the lighting going on? It's hard to you never see it from the audience's perspective, right? So you have to put that all in your head. How does that work for you guys?
It's a little bit distracting, but if you just don't think about it, it's a lot easier to focus on your lines.
Right.
If you're just like, okay, that's gonna happen, I can't stop that from happening, so I'm just gonna zone out from that.
Just focus on what your job is and delivering your line. Yeah, it's tough. It's not as easy as it looks, is it? Would all of you say that? It takes some concentration?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you guys are doing great. Speaking of concentration, this is the kind of pinnacle of the show here. I hate to put you guys under pressure, but we're gonna have you guys do a little bit of a scene for any setup for this scene that they're gonna do.
This is what's happening. This is the conversation that's happening while Eric and Ariel are in the little boat in the lagoon right before the song "Kiss the Girl." So they're trying. All of Ariel's friends have come together, and they're going to try to convince him to kiss her, because that's what we need to happen, in order for her to get her voice back and for everything to work out.
So, take it away, guys.
Hi there, what's happening?
Nothing is happening.
We spent all morning on horseback, then I'm sorry, can we do that again?
All right, here we go. Yeah.
Start again.
Hi there, what's happening?
Nothing is happening.
They spent all morning on horseback, then had an afternoon picnic, now this, and not even so much as a peck on the cheek.
Oh no, there's only one day left.
We've got to do something, and quick.
But what?
We got to create the right kind of mood.
Like candlelight and champagne?
Nonsense. It don't take all that. Everything we need we got right here.
Awesome. And so now they did that. They improvised a little bit on that scene because there was another line in there that you guys just had to skip past, and another character that wasn't here. And so that's kind of what it's all about. So if that happens on stage, you're ready for it. If you forget these lines, like, we've already practiced this without you, so we can do it.
Exactly. We'll just know what to do. Don't get that in your head though and step on his line. That would be that would be the big thing.
Always the director, right? Think it ahead. Well, that's pretty good, guys. So and everybody knows. Let's not assume that everybody knows the story of the Little Mermaid, but obviously she's fallen in love with a human. She's a mermaid, and so she's got to transform from mermaid to human, or she wants to transform, makes that decision to transform from human to mermaid. How in the world are you going to do that?
Well, I'll just tell you. We were just talking about that. So, and we haven't really rehearsed it physically. We've got the idea in our head, and we've kind of worked out the blocking of it.
Right.
But so she has a mermaid tail skirt that's just elastic at the top. And then under that we have, and I borrowed a ton of these costumes from Stroud. Big thanks to Stroud Theater. There's like just a kind of a skin-colored dress skirt kind of thing.
Okay.
And so whoever's on stage will kind of swirl around her to kind of hide, and then we'll take the skirt off, and then we'll have legs.
Yes. Hopefully, somewhere in there.
We'll tomorrow or Monday, whatever day. Monday is the day that we'll actually run that for the first time and make sure that it's going to look like. And lighting will help tremendously with that.
Sure.
So, you know, it won't just happen on a big bright, you know, like this.
Right, yeah.
So we can kind of dim
See,
it down
exactly.
and make things flash and,
Right.
you know, blink.
It's
and
the art of illusion, right? The same thing that magicians do
Right.
in Las Vegas. They get your attention over
somewhere
here
else.
and things transfer.
Exactly. And again, suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
We figure our audience is not going to be like, oh, she just took her skirt off. She didn't really become a human. I mean, you know, that's
exactly.
You
right,
just go
right.
with it. This is
right,
what's happening. So.
Right. Well, I mean, that stuff is all pretty tough. And when you sit down and think about, you know, the first thing you said you were doing Little Mermaid, I thought, oh goodness, man, all that stuff underwater, all that that's a lot to do. It's a lot to replicate or to get people to pull them into that scene, those scenes. You know, the way you construct these scenes, the way that things have to be done. You've used obviously some other resources around you, like Stroud.
Yes.
You mentioned some of the pieces that were built in the last production.
Yes, from Mamma Mia, I believe Jay Moore built this dock that we're using, and it's fabulous. And when I went to see Mamma Mia, I was like, oh, grabbed Emily after and was like, don't throw that away. I think I can use that. And so the dock has become land for us.
Yes.
So we have to, you know, we've been in the water and now we have to get her to land. So Scuttle spends a lot of time on that dock because,
Gotcha.
you know, he's the land animal.
Yeah, right.
And so we've been able to make use of that. And it's fantastic. It looks so good, and we didn't have to do it. So
Absolutely.
It's nice.
So let's ask you guys one last question about how do you think this helps you be a better student? I mean, you get to perform in these productions, you get to do all this stuff, learn all these lines. What do you take away from this personally?
Well, it helps me like get over like talking in front of people and making sure I'm loud when I talk in front of a stage or a crowd.
Harper, how about you?
I agree with her that it helps with like social skills and talking, and it also helps you meet new people because like if you don't know very many people in the grade below you or like 2 grades below you, doing this can help you because there's gonna be people from at least a grade below
All
you.
ages,
Yeah. How about you?
Or like becoming your fear to like talking to other people.
Yeah.
In front of like hundreds of people.
Yeah. Getting rid of some of those inhibitions. I mean, don't they say that public speaking is like the biggest fear for most people?
A lot of people, it's a huge fear, and these kids don't ever have to fear that because
Yeah.
they've done it.
You're over it.
Everyone
It's not-
survived. I always tell them I've
Exactly.
never lost one. We've all survived it.
You've all made it. You've all made it so far. Well, listen, a very successful program down there. I think you guys are doing a great job, and I think it's proof having these kids right here today. Thank you, Macy. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Harper, for all coming in and giving your best effort on your scene. And I hope that it intrigues you to come down and watch the rest of it because, you know, most adults would have a problem getting up there, you know, doing some of this in front of a bunch of people and just letting it go and letting it be a big production and just soaking the audience in. I mean, these kids you've learned to do a good thing here. I think you've done well for yourselves just getting this far. So we're excited about the production.
And I'm proud. And you can see, even as poised as they are here, you know, a lot of kids would be like,
exactly.
look at them. They're just sitting here doing what they got to do. I'm proud of them.
And if you know, this is not the most unintimidating atmosphere.
Exactly.
When you're with all these lights, it looks completely different from. Well, you can see some of them up there, but it's kind of intimidating. You have cameras pointed right in your face and people asking you questions all of a sudden that nobody's asked me before. You know, so very well poised guys and very good delivery on your lines, and we're excited to see, and we're excited about seeing that next week. So
Gonna be fun.
Got a week left.
Got a week. This is Tech Week, so this is where we, you know, we have to start putting all the pieces together that we haven't had in place yet. So, you know, lighting doesn't come in until the last week ever,
Right.
which would terrify me, but
Right.
she's totally chill about
We're
it.
good
She's
with it.
just comes and does her thing.
Obviously, these guys focusing on lighting and sound is their profession. They're doing this as on the career side. They're learning as well, but still have done a lot of this. I'm sure they have, and so
Yes, they're very experienced, and Eric always brings me really great people. and
Yes.
It's been a great partnership with OSU Theater Department. So.
And as a director, you're just at some point you take your hands off of this, right? I mean, this is the thing that people don't understand.
Yeah.
When the show gets there, you're done, right?
I talk about this with my husband a lot because as a coach, it's a very similar thing in that I can teach you everything I know to teach you, but you're the one that actually has to go do the thing. And
Right.
it's the same for a football team. You know, they can teach them all the things, but they actually have to go play the game. And it's that kind of thing. You kind of have to just be like, okay, we've gone as far as we can. But they always go above and beyond anything I ask them to do. So I'm not nervous at all.
Absolutely.
That's a lie. I'm always a little nervous, but you know, I believe in them. They're going to be fabulous. It's hard not to.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's a great production, and I think you guys are going to do a great job. You got a lot of personality on stage up there.
Yes.
There's a lot to be seen. A lot of music.
A lot of music.
22 songs, I think.
22 songs,
Ellie,
which
you said?
she's better at counting than I am. That's fantastic. I didn't even know
Well,
how
I
many.
look on the
So, but it's fun music too. It's something that everybody's going to enjoy.
And you know, most people know it. It's a show that you kind of recognize, so you can kind of just come in and enjoy. And
Gotcha.
It's good.
So get out there. If you know a cast member, you can get tickets from a cast member, or you can come and get them at the door.
At the door always.
And so they're $10 for adults and $5 for students or for younger
$5
kids.
for students. If it's below school age, so 3 and under are free.
Gotcha. 3 and under free. So don't have to worry about that. Come out and make it. It's Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday matinee. Yep. Really, I mean, I don't know of one show that's not good, because Friday night you got opening night.
Opening night is always good. Yes.
Saturday's good. They're more relaxed. They're
They've
just
worked
ready to
out
go.
some of the kinks.
And Sunday is just almost the
last
best.
time, best
It's the
time,
best.
right? Yeah, last time, best time.
Best time. So that you're ready to go. So you guys excited about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's good to see. It's good to see how it translates to the kids, and how that's what theater, summer theater is all about, right?
That's right.
Is
Absolutely.
getting them to this point and them experiencing all that. So, anything else you guys want to add about, want to diss any of your character, other
Let's not do that.
Don't open a can of worms, she says. Harper dropping the mic over there. So, no, you guys, it's going to be a lot of fun watching you guys come together. Isn't it fun kind of being part of a team in a big production like that, though?
Yeah, it's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
You remember it for a long time, don't you?
Yeah.
They're a family by the end.
Yeah,
You know, they
absolutely.
really are.
Like, you work so hard that I still remember, like, all the shots.
Yeah, I remember my lines from last year.
Yeah, you still got
It doesn't go away.
Every time we run bows, in my head, I'm thinking of the ending number of that show, because that's what we did last year.
Still in your head,
Still
yeah.
there.
Well, that's pretty cool, and that's the cool part of sharing that on stage and sharing that with all of your other actors on stage, that you'll remember that connection for a long time, right?
Yeah,
So very good. All right, well, thank everybody for joining us here on the studio show again. Children's Theater Camp, or Children's, I don't really call it camp, but it's a camp. We call it camp. It's camp, okay.
Theater camp, yeah.
But it produces a great production every year. Last year was great. This year is going to be great again. And so come out and support them, and just enjoy the show. Just have a good night. Enjoy the whole thing. It's going to be fun for everybody. So, all right, thank you guys very much for coming in today. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Kristen, for being in here and revealing not all the secrets, but some of them. Anyway. You come out and see some of the others this week. So,
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time on the studio show. You guys take care.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Studio Show. People, community, progress.